What's up, dog?
What's up, everyone? What's up, dog? Here we
What's
are.
up? So, yes,
Hey.
we're back again for another episode of our What's Up, Dog podcast. And today we have a very special guest as well. Before we get into that, I'm Brandon.
I'm
Thank you.
James. Oh, we clash. I'm
Oops.
James. And that's my dog, Hilda. I don't know where is it. There.
Yeah,
Hilda.
today we have a very special guest, Chloe, who's from Malaysia, who actually trains in IPO or IGP. She moved over to Belgium. We'll get into the gist of it later. We'll definitely get to know her a little bit more. But yeah, we were very delighted to have her today to speak a little bit of what the whole sport is about, her experiences, and of course, what inspires her and such. So let's get straight into it, Chloe.
Hey guys. Thanks for having me.
Hello.
Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. First of all,
My
how are
pleasure.
you? How's everything?
Good. Healthy. So that's always that's a blessing, huh,
Very,
nowadays.
very good. Very good. Very good.
And
Wait,
busy.
wait,
So.
I forgot.
What's that?
A bit delayed. Yeah, getting used to this sound card. Anyways, the first question we have here is to know how did you get into the sport of IPO and IGP?
Oh, how did I get into sport? Long ago, I mean, like with everybody else, I saw my mom long ago, she was robbed, like a snatch thief, got her bag. So from there, we started talking about, oh, maybe you need a guard dog or some sort of personal protection dog with her when she goes out. And from there, at the time, IGP, but at the time it was called Schutzhund. So
Yep.
if you
Wow.
Google Schutzhund protection dog, then, that's where you start. And from there, in the beginning, it was only protection that interested me, like with most people. But then when I got to the club, I started seeing, and as I was searching also, and I got to the club, I saw the obedience portion of it, and that really impressed me because at the time they just started with like obedience or heel work with attention, and the dog should be a little bit faster than your regular obedience.
Yep.
And so that really got my attention. How happy the dogs were in obedience. And then the idea that a German Shepherd, or in my case, a German Shepherd, should be a jack of all trades. He should be able to track. He should be able to, do obedience, and he should be able to bite. So that was very interesting for me. The fact that a dog actually uses all his instincts actually and drives. I found that interesting.
Is that a
that's
GSD right? Is that a GSD in front of you?
Yeah, he's right here trying to get my attention because I'm busy talking.
What's his name?
This is Lofu.
Lofu.
His new dog.
Lofu. As in like lion.
Lofu. Yeah. He's laughing. So I call him Lofu. But all the L names were taken at the time. So God, it said that. I know in Belgium, because all the letters in Belgium are alphabetical. So at the time it was L, and all the common L names were taken. Lex. There were even to a point that Lex had 3 X's. I was like, oh, how are we gonna do this? Oh, Lucas. I said, you know what? I know a name that for sure won't be taken in Belgium. Lofu.
Nice.
But he's anything but a Lofu. This guy is very, very, very sweet.
How old is it?
He's about 10 now. He's
Wow.
10. Yeah, he's about 10. So
Wait, so how many dogs do you have now?
at the moment I have 4.
Okay.
The other 3, maybe you didn't know. The other 3 passed away last year.
Oh.
Yeah. The 3 of them passed away last year. So,
What?
3 in a year?
3.
Yeah. It was very hard. It's just so happened that 3 passed away in 1 year.
She has actually a very, very beautiful Doberman.
Yeah, so he passed away too.
Oh shit.
After the summer. Actually, that was like heartbreaking. I was stuck in Malaysia for quarantine.
For
COVID, right?
Yeah.
So I knew he was getting sick and all that. And I came back. And I think he was waiting for me.
No way.
Yeah. So then he passed away, I think 10 days after I came back. So that was hard.
Were the reasons for the passing of all 3, if you don't mind talking, like were they related? Or?
No, completely unrelated. Axel, the oldest, he was just old. He was like 14. So things were just not.
I want to talk about Axel later.
Yeah. And then it was Cayman, but Cayman was he's a very big Doberman. So his was more like organ related, low food, stop it. And then Dak was also at the time also getting old, so was more like things were not working as well anymore.
Right. So it's primarily old age anyway.
Yeah, old age, old age.
But
Yeah.
Cayman is quite old too, right?
Pardon?
Cayman was quite old too.
For a Doberman, from what I was told, he is because apparently nowadays, show dogs, the show Dobermans, because they only get to live about 8 or something.
Oh
because,
shit!
Oh,
yeah, because the Dobermans here, although they're Dobermans, they are very big actually. Cayman is very big. So you compare it to a size, they are much bigger than the Americans. Sorry. Than the American Doberman. So yeah, the bigger the dog, the shorter lifespan.
We should have Lian here.
Yeah, Lian would love to talk to you.
Yeah.
Actually, my American Doberman, I had one a long time ago. She actually lived very long. 15 years old or something. An American one.
Wow.
So Americans
I've heard of Dobermans living up to 20.
Yeah. So I think most likely it's an American type. They're smaller, So smaller dogs live longer. Larger dogs live shorter. So yeah.
But yeah,
sorry to hear that.
Get back to the subject.
Thank you.
Yeah. Because I knew you in KL. And of course, before you moved to Belgium, of course I didn't know you then. But you started getting into the scene with a locally bred dog, your German Shepherd named Axel.
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
So
Yeah.
So the training from Malaysia, right? How was that for you in comparison to Belgium?
The biggest difference I thought was, for me personally, is the commitment. The amount of commitment that people here show if you want to get somewhere with sport. I mean, you can also, there are many levels of, dog sporters. Some just do it on the weekend, which is also fine. But then you cannot expect to get anywhere in a sport if you're only training twice a week, let's say, or once a week on the weekends. Yes. So that's one of the biggest difference. If you want to be on schedule and title your dog, then you have to do a bit more. The second is there are a lot, because Axel, when I moved, he was about 4 or 5 years old. So the expectation of him is a little bit higher because he was a bit older. So the club and we were a lot stricter with him. That was one of the biggest, his expectations were a lot higher compared to Malaysia, of course, So they were a lot stricter. I think that was the biggest difference. And also in general, everything in training, everything is on a higher level. So the drive, we want the dog, even though the common belief is the higher drive, I mean, it's not common, it is that the higher the drive, the more mistakes the dog tends to make. But in this case, or the way I train now, I still do, even though the drive is higher, they still have to stay correct. I'm not going to avoid, in general situations, I mean, I'm sure there will be exceptions. The general situation is, despite you being in drive or high drive, you have to be correct. So the dog's brain has to be able to work and function at that high drive as well. Or the dog is taught to function at a higher drive as well. Because eventually all the help, you know how it is, the help is gone. You go to a different place. There's so many distractions all over the place. So this high drive eventually will come into, it'll be very useful.
Right.
So that's the biggest difference I found, was that, like, everything is, the rewards are higher, the rewards are crazier, but yet, boom, correct. That's how it is. And then once that is correct, the reward is again, extremely high, extremely crazy. If you see me training and rewarding, I sound really crazy.
When you say like very high, what do you mean? Like, can you explain?
Lots of play then, or a bite. Things like that. Because I think generally, if you're talking about training, most of us, when they're young and there's very low distraction, we all lure with food to keep it correct, right? I mean, I do anyway. But eventually it moves into with a ball, or for example, the jumps. I think a very good example is the jumps. A lot of people believe that if it's too crazy with the ball, people use food, right? But when I was in Belgium, I thought also was like, wow, these guys do it. They don't force the dog, but they told me like, no, the dog has to learn to function in this drive or with this drive in order to jump. So they need to use their brains. We don't avoid the problem, but we work with it instead. And when you use the drive, then of course a lot of other things fall into place. Like with the dumbbells, it goes faster, it goes smoother. Eventually, in the start, it's usually a little bit there are hiccups to it, but eventually it gets there.
So there's actually a common perception for locally bred dogs and imported dogs, right? That you won't get the best out of a local bred dog. You won't get these kind of things. So what I wanted to mention here is that Axel, under Chloe's training, has actually achieved one of the highest levels of tracking certifications, known as FH2. And so this is something that I think it's interesting to talk about, because people who buy overseas dogs have that common perception already that if I buy a dog from overseas, it has to be damn good. It has to be good, right? Because it's from overseas. This is the common knowledge here. But I think what I want to say here is, even if you have a locally bred dog or whatnot, it comes down to two things, right? The two main things that we should look at. One is your training. Two is, of course, I believe there is some levels of genetic behavior in the dog that you must also be able to find, right? So again, achieving FH is a very, very, very difficult, I would say, achievement. But you can share a little bit of what FH is.
FH. Oh, I have to look. I have to look at the rule book. I don't know exactly.
No, I just basic because here.
It's a very.
Yeah.
It's a very, very big track. It's like 1,000 over steps. I think FH1 is 1,200 steps, and then FH2 is 1,600 or 1,800 steps, something like that. Very, very big. I actually supported
it crosses terrains and
how many football fields?
Sorry?
I'm just wondering, in the context of a football field, how many football fields are we talking?
Oh no, I think one proper size football field, I think.
Yeah, but the thing is, FH crosses track, you see? So you have different terrains as well.
I think, not necessarily. I think there's a different FH. There's IGP FH or something like that. FH2, I think, was not or maybe they did, was just a cross between dirt and grass.
Yeah.
So it wasn't road or something like that. I'm sorry, it's been a few years, so I can't remember exactly. So it was something like that. And then you have a curved track, semicircle in your track, and then you have a sharp corner as well. And then of course you have two cross tracks and 7 articles, I believe. And you're allowed to rest your dog if you want, and wipe his face with a wet cloth if you need to on the day.
And it's aged for like a minimum of 6 hours or something, right?
No, I think it's 3 hours. 3 hours.
Oh, okay.
But it's
you say like it's just 3 hours.
Yeah, that's the
stressing out within a 5 and 15 minutes aging.
3 hours does make a difference in the morning. Like you get there and then the dew is all evaporated. It's no joke. The problem is it's very, very strenuous for the dog. Extremely strenuous. Yes. By the end of the track, the dog, if he's properly doing it, he's panting like he just did protection or really. It's really very strenuous actually.
How many minutes how long would it take a dog to work through a track that size?
It depends how slow your dog tracks. Number one. Number two, I think a good 20 minutes.
On average, 20 minutes?
Yeah, 20 minutes, 25 minutes. Yeah. So
there
for that
is
amount.
a minimum time that you have to finish by.
The maximum
time that you have to finish by.
Yeah, you have to check the rule books for that. But I haven't seen a dog that actually exceeded so slow that he exceeded that time.
Yeah.
It's quite the timing is quite reasonable. They don't. It still has to stay a little bit animal friendly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So another question I have for you.
Yeah.
You're in Belgium.
Yeah.
Why don't you use a Belgian Shepherd?
Because I'm smart enough.
Wow.
No, I've always been a fan of the German Shepherd, and unfortunately, you know what the saying is, German Shepherd is health problems, and Belgian Shepherd is they're gonna shoot me for this, but character problems. I mean, the general saying here is so for me, I've actually been around sometimes, like, testing dogs and looking at dogs, like going with friends looking at dogs, and then yeah, no lah, no Belgian shepherds for me. I like the German shepherd.
What's the character challenges? See, I changed the word to challenges.
Something like that lah, like what Brandon said. It's not for me, and I like German shepherds because they tend to be more stable. Generally speaking, I will admit that there are health issues with the German shepherd, but if you get a properly bred one, fingers crossed, then they're healthy and nothing really happens. But Belgian shepherds, with a health issue, it can cost you money, go to the vet and things like that, or you get rid of the dog. But with a character issue, it can be downright dangerous.
Yeah, I agree.
What character issues are you referring? I mean, like, you specifically, like, if we're talking about aggression or lack of clarity or hectic.
Those things.
All of the above.
Yeah. Yeah. These are just I'm sure these are, not all Belgian shepherds like that. I mean, you look at the ones from Brandon, they're all very nice and stable dogs, and but I've seen quite a few that are, I'm sure they are also in the German shepherd, in the German shepherd world. I'm sure they are, disclaimer. not
You're
all
too careful. You're too careful. Just say it.
Have to lah. No, I really enjoy the German shepherd.
I have
the
to
structure and the head and things like that.
I know the next question.
I think you need to put
Did you have a
context, James, right?
Rottweiler before?
James, I think you need to put context because James is actually afraid of shepherds.
German shepherds, really?
And all shepherds.
I'm sincerely, properly afraid of German shepherd. The first time I met Barros, I was trying to hide on top of a picnic table. Of course, at that point, Barros was the first Belgian Malinois I've ever seen, and I never knew how high they could jump. In hindsight, I felt very stupid standing on the picnic table.
Yeah, picnic table is nothing. They just, sure, okay.
Yeah, no, I'm sincerely afraid.
But Chloe, did you ever have a Rottweiler?
I had long ago a Rottweiler mix with a family dog. Yeah.
But it wasn't for training and stuff.
No. It was just like a guard dog. A typical guard dog, bark in the house, bark and things like that. Yeah. But Rottweilers, actually, I have. Huh?
No, just saying. You go. No, in Belgium, what's the scene like? Any outstanding working Rottweilers? I
haven't seen outstanding working Rottweilers, but I have seen some working Rottweilers. No, because unfortunately I'm used to, I think it's the same. If a Belgian Shepherd guy would probably say most German Shepherds are very slow, which is, if you compare to a Belgian Shepherd, that's true.
Yeah.
So, but I did see a couple of Rottweilers and they were very strong, like in protection. Wow. You see, they're like very slow. You go like the blind search, like, okay, today would be nice. And then they come onto the blind and they're barking. Okay, very good, call out. And then the escape also is like, okay, go escape. But then once they're on the helper, their escape is real hindrance. They just sink like a sack of potatoes. That's what the helper says.
Yeah. They have this tendency to pull down. Yeah, they like to pull down and drop the whole body.
And use their body weight and just drag the helper, actually. Just stop the helper, do their best, even for the re-attack as well. So in that sense, I can imagine they're very strong.
I've always thought that they were lazy. Like once they get a bite, they want to lie down. But actually, then later I realized that when they bite, they want to lie down because instinctively they know of their size and they want to use it to their advantage. So they hung down a lot.
Most of them I see like that. Yeah.
Do you do this full time training?
No, it's just whatever I can do and part-time type of thing. Yeah. So.
Okay.
But I spend the amount of time I spent on it is more or less
full-time.
Full-time. It's like full-time. Yeah.
In Belgium, have you gone to the Belgian ring side of it? Have you seen people do Belgian?
Yeah. There used to be a ring club about just 3 minutes outside my the club that I go to.
Like the oldest,
the oldest competitor was like 96 years old. He did trial.
Wow.
Yeah, with Malina. Yeah. I don't know if it's still around, but I
so
remember seeing it.
Here's the key outtake that we take from that comment. Mally keeps you young.
There are also German Shepherd handlers that are, I don't know how old.
Do you ever want to?
Rottweiler?
Would you ever want to go to do ring sports?
No, I'm not into ring sport. I like first of all, I like the trekking portion of it.
Yeah.
And then I like also the correctness of the obedience. And protection is protection. For me, although ring sport protection is very impressive. It is very impressive. You have to say it as a fact. But I do enjoy the tracking portion and obedience of IGP. I actually met a former KMPV handler over the weekend, and he was saying, "Oh, the obedience is really difficult." And I said, "Oh yeah, the dogs have to be correct." Saying, "No, it's not correct anymore. It's robotic. The dogs have to be robotic." I was like, "Yeah, it depends how you look at it."
Well, for IPO?
Yeah. He is a KMPV handler, and he does ring sport. But now he's slowly switching over to IPO with German Shepherds.
Good stuff.
Oh gosh. Your experience in Rottweiler's trekking? You see many or
no?
rarely?
Sorry, I haven't seen any Rottweilers like right in front of me trekking.
Yeah, I'll just log out now, and then when you guys are done, just let me know. I'll dial back in to end the meeting.
Sorry.
So previously, before
to be fair,
James... Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm into German Shepherds. So I'm mostly in the ring of German Shepherds, and then once in a while I go to an all breed trial to just have a look, and then there I do see a couple Rottweilers.
Yeah, there wouldn't be
a
many.
Doberman or so. Yeah, most of it is Malinois and German Shepherds.
Yeah.
So I'm sure I'm sure if you go to a Rottweiler club, there mostly Rottweiler. There are Rottweiler clubs there, so not as many. Once in a while, there's a boxer.
Did you train your Doberman?
Airedale. Yeah, I did. But I got him on purpose as a long story. I got him because actually for my parents. So I brought him back to Malaysia. Turned out he was a little bit too wild for my parents. So I had to bring him back.
Wow.
My parents were like, no, I don't want. He's too crazy. Cannot walk him. so
he was bred in Belgium?
No, I got him from I think Serbia or Ukraine, something like that.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I can't remember, the breeder is either Ukraine and she lives in Serbia, or she's Serbian, she lives in Ukraine, something like that.
One or the other.
Yeah, one or the other.
I wanted to ask you, Chloe.
Yeah.
So you know me, right? So and I don't like trekking, right?
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, why do you like trekking? Because to me, it's an old man's sport. Hence, that's why James likes it.
I love trekking. I'm on your side, too. I love trekking.
Loves it. Okay,
I love trekking.
Ask, why do you like trekking?
I like seeing a dog on his own use his instincts and drives.
Okay.
And independent, and then he is using his own instincts to work. That is essentially what actually attracted me to IPO in the first place, like I mentioned. So trekking is really
funny because a lot more people would choose the latter of like either obedience or protection to get attracted, but you and the other sense is trekking.
I'm actually the instincts that the dog uses. That's actually what attracted me to the sport in the first place, But then I realized in trekking, there is where the dogs actually use most of the instincts with minimal influence from the handler at 10 meters behind, right?
100%, yeah.
In my way of training, because I know other people, they train differently, so that's a different story. But I prefer, my way of training is I give the dogs the tools and teach them also the rules of the game, and the rest, a lot of it is up to them. They have to figure it out. So that's my general view on it. That's why I like it.
How often do you track?
How often do I track? If it's like maintenance, it's maybe 3 times a week, 4 times a week. But if it's getting up to trial season, it goes up to like 5, 6. Yeah, 5, 6 times. But also depends on your dog. Actually, it depends on your dog. It really depends on your dog. Yeah. If
you're not joking when you say everything is high level, then.
Yeah, but if you want to get somewhere, because there are also people who actually just train once a week tracking, But and as long as they realize that with once a week tracking, I can't really play a trial. Or if I do play a trial, it's not going to be very good. Don't expect too much. But these guys also don't expect very much. They are more which it should be. They're just going out on a Sunday, have fun with their dog, exercise their dog. They get some exercise as well. And then, nice evening. Then we go to the club or cafe or whatever. After that, have a coffee. That's how it starts out for them. So how often I track really depends on your dog. Yeah. Also.
No, but how do you
and your
prepare,
expectations.
How would you prepare from, let's say, whatever age your puppy is till the time that he's ready for IPO1 tracking?
How do I prepare?
I mean,
then
you don't need to tell us in details, but like, what do you do on a daily basis?
Don't want to start boring people.
Yeah. No, just general. Yeah.
So boring.
I track with a puppy, then very young dog. I do my best to track every day, then because then they get their food from the track. 2-3 months old, like maybe 3 months. Because my 2 girls now are born with me, so there's a bit of an exception. I started a bit earlier because they were born here. But let's say 3 months old, after the first month of getting to know you, getting to know the surroundings a little bit, have a little bit of a bond with you. So about 3 months, I start literally every day with food on the ground with a tracking plate, and food in every footstep then. And then, the track gets longer and longer. I also do it for almost a year, let's say, roughly, because here they got 4 seasons. So I want them to go through all the 4 seasons as well. And then, with the 4 seasons comes different type of ground. With the farmers and their seasons as well as different. So I want them to get used to everything.
I've always wondered, so you guys just rock up to someone's farm and they don't mind you tramping over?
No. You ask permission. So...
and farmers expect this, like there'll be some crazy dog people coming to ask me whether I can walk
they
on
know
your farm.
No, but you also respect them. So you cannot go on the grass if it's like, more than 15 centimeters, you're just going to ruin it, right? So you cannot go on it, right?
So there are certain
you just don't go up, rock up. No, they don't go, you don't go rocking up and tramping on their grass. So you have to ask permission, and then also respect, because that's their that's their income. So you cannot just simply trample all over the grass. So you have to wait. So sometimes during the year also, it'll be very difficult to get some trekking fields because all of it is too long, and then the weather is bad, so they cannot cut the grass. So then you just make do with what you have for a while. And that's just how it is. And depends on your region. Where I am, it's I'm not going to complain, but it's not the most accessible area for trekking. There are some areas here where you have trekking fields as far as the eye can see, that then you're really out of town.
Is it quite a drive for you to get?
No, I'm in a small town, so it's not so bad. But I don't have fields like as far as the eye can see. I don't have that kind of thing. Most of the farmers here are hobby farmers, small scale farmers. So, they can, like, most of it is for their own cows. Some of it they sell, but I'm not in the area where they commercially grow the corn and sell it industrially. There is where, that's really where you get the fields as far as your eye can see. Like a sea of green or dirt. Really. I get jealous.
It's like she's driving. Oh, that's a tracking field. That's a tracking field. That's a tracking field.
Yeah. But it is. But then you have to remember, like, I wonder who owns that piece. I wonder who owns that piece.
So when I'm in Europe and I'm taking the trains, I look left. Oh my God, this is like perfect for tracking. But
the problem is now, because in my area it's smaller, and then there are some people who actually don't respect it, then it becomes a problem. Then the farmer says, how come there are footsteps in my grass? It's so long already, and then it's, ruined a little bit, then they're not happy, and you just want to avoid that. So it's not as easy as, it's dragon field, we're gonna go. No, it doesn't. Some people do that, I think, but that's not the way to go about it. You just ruin the spot for everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you do with the seasons? Like there's winter, autumn. Is there like certain months that you can't do anything, or it's like a facility, like indoor facility where you can do?
No, you mean when it's very cold? When it's very cold, you just buy a very good coat and you go outside. No, we don't have snow like in America or Canada. So it's a very mild winter here. You get some snow, but you still can be outside.
See, but the dedication for tracking is insane, right? So Chloe, even when she's here, she wants to train. She wake up at 4 5 a.m. Tell me where. I'll be there.
Six
You
6
tell her it's
o'clock,
like 45
6,
minutes
7,
away from her, she'll still be there. Even if it's not her dog. So
Yeah, I enjoy that.
this is tracking crazy.
No, very much like you. I think when I first met Brandon, I think Brandon
Yeah.
did like a demonstration with his dogs, and he
Mm.
worked through. He showed protection and obedience, and to me it was wow. But like, oh wow, I'm gonna stay away. I'll be right here. You can do the thing over there. But then
Yeah.
I remember that one time I followed Brandon, and he did. I think he was preparing for trial. He did a long track, and he said, walk along with me and see what it's like. And it was the first time for me seeing a dog track, right? And the Aros nose was like into the grass, and he's just like, you can hear him.
Yeah, you can hear him
sucking and
sniffing.
everything.
Yeah,
And it was so fascinating. And obviously that track was aged for a bit because after he lady, we were chatting about dogs in general. And then the precision on the indication, it was highly fascinating for me. So I fell in love with tracking. But do you then wonder, or have you ventured off from tracking to go into like human trailing, cadaver dog, scent detection? Like, is that fascinating for you? Because it is endlessly fascinating.
Yeah, the possibility ends, but somehow I'm not that interested because then comes the precision of the sport that I really like. So I do a little bit, not so much. Sometimes I get the dogs to do a basic search because that's what the police want. Not my dogs, then other dogs that to teach them a little bit to search for their ball or something, just to get the basics for man trailing or detection, whatever they want to do. But their requirement is that the dog has to have the hunt drive to keep searching, so that we work a little bit. But that has never really clicked. Never really fell into love into it because then IPO, I like the precision. What I really love is when a dog comes to a corner, and then she stops. And then she goes a little bit forward. Nothing. Left. Nothing. Right. There it is. Let me check again. Here, nothing. There's something. Okay, I'm gonna take the corner.
Yeah, I don't know. I never felt that before.
No,
my dog goes round in circles.
Eventually, I mean, that's
too humble. His dog is very, very good at tracking.
True story. Went round in circles this morning.
It's a very, very, very good dog. Really, seriously, I think for even Malaysia being a black dog and
Rottweiler hot also.
For the dog has super drive. So
I brought her out for a track this morning at 9:30. A bit wild, a bit warm, but she did all right. A bit hectic. Yeah, a bit hot, a bit hectic. She went round and round in circles like as if it was a roundabout.
Is she generally a hectic dog?
Oh yeah.
I don't think so. Is she? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But she's made that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. To be fair.
I was gonna suggest if she's hectic because you don't track enough, then just go more often. People underestimate that.
Yeah.
People underestimate that. Like the frequency of going helps a lot.
The repetition gets them calmer.
Yeah. Of course. Then they learn also to pace themselves as well. So it helps a lot. Yeah. Eventually they learn to pace themselves, and then of course practice makes perfect. But of course every dog is different. But generally I find that a lot of people underestimate the frequency because it's a lot of work there, obviously.
I agree. But I mean, that's what I hate about tracking is sometimes you lay your track for maybe 45 minutes, right? Then you have to wait a little bit, right? And then your dog comes up to the starting flag. Well, today I don't feel like track. Oh my god!
I'll take a piece. I'll take a piece right about here.
But I mean, again, the repetition helps a lot because it teaches the dog to really focus.